just sit this one out. It's time to get on my feet. Rise up and move to the rhythm of my pounding heartbeat. Passions are fired up, I will not fade away. Thunder driving through me, so much to do and say. Wake up, shake up, step up, step out.
Welcome. I'm Mary Ewell, and this is MPA Today, where we discuss what's going to move the Monadnock region forward to be a more sustainable, inclusive, and people-powered community. Today, we welcome Pat Martin, the chair of the RING Local Energy Commission and MPA Clean Energy team member. Welcome, Pat.
Oh, thank you, Mary. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, I feel so wonderful to talk about the two great events that you're going to be having in early September.
Yeah, so it's this is a program that's happening across the country. Tens of thousands of people in cities all across the U.S., actually all around the world, are preparing for the Global Climate Action Summit that's happening out in San Francisco, September 12th through 14th. And so on September 8th, cities around the globe are rising up for climate, jobs, and justice. That's the theme of these events. And we're hoping, Keene is hosting the New Hampshire version. We're very honored to be the site for New Hampshire. There'll also be another activity out on the seacoast as well. But we're the main event for New Hampshire, and we've been working hard on that. So the starting event is the rally on September 8th at 11 o'clock on Central Square. And we have a great lineup of speakers, and we will be addressing those three big issues: climate, jobs, and justice.
So this is a Sierra Club event, right?
It is. Well, Sierra Club is part of it. It's really a coalition of many organizations, including 350 New Hampshire, Sierra Club, League of Conservation Voters. They're taking the lead, and MPA, and Rights and Democracy, and specifically the Clean Energy team of MPA is hosting the event.
So how did the Clean Energy team, for our viewers at home, get so involved in the Sierra Club and all of these other organizations to be able to be chosen for this really big honor of hosting this New Hampshire event? I mean, I think people want to know, like, how did we get this?
I'm laughing just a little because part of it is that normally this would be hosted in Concord on the State House lawn. But unfortunately, they just announced when the global summit was going to happen, and we found out in June that we were going to be hosting it here in Keene. The reason is because some other organization had reserved the State House lawn in Concord. Wow. And they couldn't hold it there. So they looked around, and we had just launched our Ready for 100 campaign in Keene. And we've been, the Ready for 100% Renewable Energy campaign is a Sierra Club program that we're participating in. Okay. And so they were happy with our launch, and they asked us if we would take that on, and we agreed.
Okay, and so, for people at home that might not know what this Ready for 100 really entails, can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure.
Because Ready for 100 what? When do we have to be ready,
Absolutely. So it's Ready for 100% renewable energy. And the goal is to reach 100% renewable electricity supply by 2030, and 100% of everything, transportation and home heating, all sources of energy by 2050. Which
which really isn't that far away. when you think it's 2018.
That's true, except that I'll be 101 by then. So
You're going to have to hand this over to somebody else.
Exactly. So we're really hoping to bring young people into this Ready for 100 campaign. The launch in April was just the starting point.
Okay.
The Ready for 100 campaign will be an ongoing effort. Keene is a fantastic place to be hosting the Ready for 100 campaign. We're doing it not just for Keene, but for the Monadnock region.
Okay.
So part of the very first thing that we did as a Ready for 100 team was that we had Ann Shedd talking with us. She's from the Climate and Energy Committee, or Energy and Climate Committee for the city.
For the city of Keene. So Ann Shedd is on the Climate and Energy Committee for the city of Keene.
And she came to a Ready for 100 meeting, and we were talking about the fact that all over New Hampshire I think there are 6 energy hubs, regional energy hubs, that coordinate with area energy committees and run programs together. And it's been very successful out in the Seacoast and in the Upper Valley, where they have the vital communities. And so Ann picked up the ball and ran with it, and we now have the Monadnock Energy Hub, which has been an amazing force, as you well know.
Yes, as I know, right?
Right. And but what we recognized, the thing about Keene is that they did that inventory of energy usage for the whole city. That means residential sector, business sector, municipal sector. And they released their report this past spring on greenhouse gas emissions.
And the wonderful thing is, if anyone at home is interested, they can go on to the City of Keene website and search for the Climate and Energy Committee, and you can access that report. And it is really easy to read, isn't it? It really is. They really work to make it accessible to everybody. And there's a lot of great information in there. I just wanted to plug that in there.
Absolutely. Because it's to change the tagline for the Rise for Climate, Jobs, and Justice is to change everything, we need everybody. And what came out of that greenhouse gas report was that although the municipality, Keene, the city of Keene itself, did very well, they had set a goal of reducing greenhouse gases by 20%, and they actually achieved 25%.
Okay, so they're overachievers.
They're overachievers. But there was a goal set, I think it was for 10% for, it might have been 20% for residential and businesses. Businesses reached 10%, but residential, I think it's like 2%, and that's only if you take into account how much the population has grown. So we really fell down in terms of helping people in the residential sector and even the business sector reduce their greenhouse gases. And, you know, there hasn't been a concerted effort to pull people in from in their homes and their businesses.
Yeah, to educate.
Exactly.
To offer ways for them to learn about maybe how they can weatherize, how they can solarize, how they can get tax credits, right?
Exactly. And not just tax credits, but actually grants. You know, through the New Hampshire Saves program, there's money out there, people. You know, there's...
And if they want to learn, so if you want to learn about these things, September 8th, it's not just a rally that's going to take place.
Right. The rally is at 11. But
and it's at Keene Central Square.
Right. And
but
then,
there's something else going on.
Exactly. Here's the good part, for at least for me. Right after that, we're going over to Railroad Square, for 3 hours from noon to 3. We'll have an ice cream social. Stonyfield Farms is donating frozen yogurt.
Oh, great.
And they'll have a table there, and they'll be passing out frozen yogurt, and we'll have music. And we'll have information tables with people who are experts in different areas, from storage, solar, energy efficiency, et cetera. And also an opportunity to engage politically. Because
it's the political season now.
Exactly.
September 8th is going to be right before the primaries.
League of Women Voters will be there with a list of all the state representatives. So, you know, everybody from Keene, of course, should come, but also people from the Monadnock region, because, as you know, I'm from Ringe. I'm on the chair of the Ringe Energy Commission, and I consider us part of, you know, Keene is our metropolitan hub. Right, exactly. So we really are inclusive. Many of the people who join the Monadnock Energy Hub come from Peterborough, which has also done some amazing work in terms of sustainability, renewable energy. All their town buildings are powered with wood pellets, heated with wood pellets.
It keeps everything local.
Right.
And it helps with that jobs.
Exactly.
Helps with the climate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we could talk a little bit about each of those. You know, this rally is not just a rally to say rah-rah. We are actually going to ask people to take action. You're going to leave the rally knowing that there are some things you can do to really make a difference. You know, this is about hope. This is about and resilience. No matter what's going on in terms of the political climate, there are still things that we can do that are going to make a huge difference and wouldn't happen.
And on a community level. We have to keep thinking on a community grassroots level.
Exactly.
And not get so discouraged sometimes if something isn't happening on a national level, right?
Exactly.
Let it rise from the community, and you can see that impact so much.
Exactly.
You know, you can look at your neighbor, you can look at your house, you can look at your town, you can look at the town next door.
Exactly.
Let that kind of change, you know, nourish your heart.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking. We're hoping to nourish our hearts and our spirits and our minds. So one of our asks will be for people to email, and you can do this today if you see this program, do this today. Okay. Send an email to your state representatives and ask them to please vote to override Governor Sununu's veto of Senate Bill 446. This was the bill that was passed on a bipartisan basis in both the House and the Senate.
Yeah, it had so much support, and it's really close to being able to be vetoed. Right. Yeah, so this is really important.
But the Senate is definitely down with overriding the veto, but they need a lot more help in the House. They don't have all the commitment they need in the House. So we really need people to make the effort to contact their state representatives.
And can you talk a little bit about the veto process and what day that's going to be and how that's done in New Hampshire, because maybe people don't understand that this is real important to do.
Right.
You know, and we only have one day, right?
Right. It's the vote to override day is what it's called.
Okay.
Is on September 13th.
September 13th, so right after September 8th. So you can come down to this rally, go grab some, you know, frozen yogurt, talk about the issues, make sure that you are feeling good, even if you have some questions right now watching this show, and still take action.
Right, and as I said, League of Women Voters will be there with a list of all the state representatives. So whether you come from Keene or you come from one of the outlying towns, if you're not sure who your state representatives are, there'll be help there. And
yeah, just take the list.
Right.
You don't even if you know, oh, I want to do this, but maybe I'm unsure about some other things, take that information and, go with it and, learn those names and be able to speak up about the things that you care
Right.
about in your community.
So, so it's climate, it's jobs, and this is an enormous issue because
People don't talk about enough.
exactly. We have to make sure that we're creating the economy to support this clean energy future, and that we're supporting workers, finding those jobs that are so important to building it, attracting them to come work in these fields. And there are a couple of really important factors. For one thing, we have a lot of leaky gas distribution lines all throughout the state.
Okay, and we know, but maybe our viewers don't know, how and what type of energy are we using most in this state of New Hampshire?
So we use mostly oil for home heating.
Okay.
But there's, maybe 20 or 30% is natural gas heating.
Okay.
And then the remainder, maybe another 20%, is probably wood or electric. But the thing is that what we're discovering, and this has been pretty recently, it's come out in Connecticut and Massachusetts, is that the distribution lines for the gas distribution to people's homes are quite leaky, and we're leaking methane at an alarming rate into the atmosphere. And
methane is?
It's a greenhouse gas.
A greenhouse gas.
That's, they give it a rating based on 20 years or 100 years. It does dissipate faster than carbon, but in the first 20 years, it's 86 times as powerful as carbon in terms of warming the atmosphere.
Yeah, so the first 86 years,
20 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, the first 20 years, it's like having that super warm down blanket on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's really important that we address the methane leaks. And so, although I see the labor movement concerned about the jobs that are associated with building pipelines, we want them to know that we're willing to work with them and lobby to have them fix the existing pipeline infrastructure, to repair and replace those lines. There are also great jobs in offshore wind development, and Rhode Island and Massachusetts have really gotten on board. They're so excited about building an offshore wind industry. The Gulf of Maine is considered the Saudi Arabia of offshore wind.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, because it blows so hard and so constantly that there's great promise out there, much more so than drilling for oil off the...
Now, so we say this offshore wind, how can we in the Monadnock region kind of feel that benefit? We feel so far away from it.
Because it will provide electricity to the grid. And, in terms of our electricity, yes, we want to produce as much as we can locally, but, most of the consumption happens along the coastlines. Most of the people live along the coastlines. So having offshore wind to maybe displace the power generated by Seabrook nuclear power plant in the long term, or to prevent other gas powered electric generating plants from being built by using offshore wind benefits us all, because we all breathe the same air. We're all stuck in the same climate. We're in the same boat together, whether we like it or not. So what benefits one area benefits all of us.
Okay, and maybe some of our young people could go to the seacoast and work and
Absolutely.
stay in our state.
Absolutely. And
Right.
there are good jobs, not just in building and constructing, but in maintaining and monitoring these offshore wind turbines. And They've made great strides with offshore wind. They're now basically floating turbines that are anchored instead of, drilling way down into the seabed. They're just anchored, and they're made to float. And Portsmouth would be a wonderful staging place for bringing these turbines out to, first of all, construct them, and then float them out to their destinations. And they're designed to be at least 10 miles offshore, so you don't even see them.
Doesn't even hurt our view.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So there's that, and then the other thing I want to talk about, which is a combination of jobs and justice, is RGGI. And New Hampshire has...
Now, what is RGGI? We've got to go real fast because we're
Yeah,
running out of time.
okay,
And
I'm sorry.
we want to get to that second one, too. So you have to tell people, you're so in all of this that I think sometimes when you start using the terms, you have to make sure that you're taking everyone with you.
Right. So RGGI is the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, and it basically started around 2007 here in New Hampshire, and we're part of a regional RGGI body that includes all the New England states plus New York, and basically power generators pay kind of a penalty for the carbon that they put into the atmosphere.
Okay.
That then goes into a fund that's distributed proportionally to each of the states based on how much power we use.
Okay, so New Hampshire
Gets its share. Unfortunately, our legislature in 2012 felt it was too much money to be putting into energy efficiency programs, and so they rebate 80% of the money to electric customers, which amounts to less than $1 in your bill. And that dollar isn't going to do much for you. When we pool all that money together, it can be very powerful. And one of the things where we've been shortchanged is that there are 10,000 low-income homes in New Hampshire who receive fuel assistance, who are on a waiting list for weatherization. Those homes need to be insulated, they're leaky. We're spending fuel assistance dollars for money that goes up the chimney, out the windows, through the walls.
So we need to work with the legislatures to get that money instead of saving that dollar.
Right.
Let's pool that money
Exactly.
and help these people so they don't have to be on this assistance because they're saving that money because their house is weatherized?
Right, and the fuel assistance is a very small piece of their annual heating bill. I mean, it's just assistance. It's not the whole thing.
Oh, okay, so they could save money maybe on top of the assistance.
Most of their bill they have to pay themselves.
Okay.
So it's money they don't have for food, medicine, for their kids' education.
So this would really help.
It's really a question of justice. It's really a question of justice.
So that gets us, now we've talked about climate,
Jobs.
we talked about jobs, and we talked about justice.
Right.
So
And
these
I
are
wanna-
all issues that everyone could talk about and learn more about if they come on September 8th.
Exactly. And on September 12th, we have,
We
get
got
that in.
one more event. We have
Right.
we have some time.
Okay.
We can squeeze it in,
Okay, so on September 12th.
which is a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday night.
September 8th was a Saturday.
Right.
Just wanna do that.
Right, we're going to be showing the Sierra Club documentary, Reinventing Power. And there are interviews conducted with people across the United States who have made the transition to clean energy jobs and technology and how it's benefited them. And that we don't have to choose between jobs and clean energy. It all fits together. Clean energy, jobs, and justice all fit together. And the film will be followed by a panel discussion with Tom Webler, Professor Tom Webler from Keene State, Peter Hansel from Filtrine, Steve Walker, who is an entrepreneur who started Jaffrey Wood Pellet and is now on to other things about managing the grid. So I hope people will come to the film as well. It's at the Centennial Hall of the Keene State College Alumni Center. So that's
it's an
exciting week.
Yeah, and I think what's really wonderful is if you can come on Saturday, sit down and talk to people, and you feel like you just didn't learn enough, and you want to learn more about what's going on across the country. Now you have the perfect thing.
Exactly.
You just come Wednesday night. It's right in Keene again.
Right.
And then you get to talk to a panel. You probably can submit some questions, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
After? Yeah, absolutely. It will be an open discussion, so I'm very excited about it.
And it has business people, it has an entrepreneur who started his own business. This isn't just academics. These are real people with real businesses too there that are going to share, what they learned as they did their job.
I'm so excited about that whole week. I'm very proud of the clean energy team of MPA for pulling this together, and all the people who've stepped up to help. It is the summertime. People had other plans and they put them aside. And you too, Mary, for all the help that you've given us in promoting this and doing all this wonderful artwork. So I want to give a shout out to Mothers Out Front, who have really stepped up as well in terms of support for the program. So it's been a wonderful collaboration with many, many different groups, Citizens Climate Lobby.
So really great grassroots groups coming together and doing exactly what we want to do on Railroad Square. And so for anyone who is like new to Keene and go, oh, well, where's Railroad Square?
Yeah.
Right by the co-op, so right by the Keene co-op. So if you want to know where to go,
it's going to be wonderful, and the music's going to be terrific. We're going to have Jim Murphy's blues band performing.
Oh, wow.
It really will be.
So if you heard the music at the beginning of the show, that was Jim doing an original piece of his. So if you like his kind of soulful sound, that's who's going to be there. But he has a large band, and a female singer too. So that's super exciting that you're going to have Jim there, and he's also an MPA member and as well part of the leadership team. So definitely getting everybody together, to have a great time.
Yeah. And it really is, and we'll have at the rally, we'll have speakers, young speakers as well, students speaking,
get the students together
and teachers. Yeah, so it really is to change everything. We really do need everybody. And like I said, I'll be 101 when we get to 2050. I expect a big party if I'm still around, but I know in the meantime we have to pass the torch. So thank you so much for interviewing us on this, Mary. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Pat, for coming and sharing your tremendous wealth of knowledge. And I wanted to thank everyone today for stopping in and watching MPA Today. I hope to see you next week.
Step out. Stand up, stand out. Shout it out. Yes, I will. Yes, we can.